On this episode of the Best of Bias Podcast, you got me talking some pop culture topics from the last couple of weeks. Tom Brady's back at camp. Everybody thought he was off doing something crazy, but he's back. KD and Kyrie staying in Brooklyn. I kind of predicted that. I thought it was going to be their best thing to do, given the circumstances. Deshaun Watson's 6-game suspension turned to 11. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Usman, the kick that took the champion down. That impact and what's going to happen, like his comeback story. Is that going to be epic or what? We got some TV show reviews. We got She-Hulk out. First 2 episodes to come out, so we'll talk about that a little bit. And we got House of the Dragon, the prequel to the Game of Thrones. So I got a lot to talk about in this episode. Hope you guys are ready for a good one.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to unite us. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. It's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias Podcast with Lydell Dinero and Hugo Twilight.
What's up, everybody? What's up, my peoples? Whew, it's been a long week, but it's Friday. And it's Friday. You know what happens on Friday. It's the Best of Bias Podcast. Let me talk closer to the mic. How y'all been, man? It's been a while. I feel like I ain't seen y'all in forever. Not much happened this week, but sports is coming back. So it's going to be a sports-loaded front half of the episode, but I got TV shows reviews in the back. You guys heard the intro. You know what's going on. But I'm going to start with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers because football's back. We got a couple of weeks until the regular season starts on September 11th. We got fantasy drafts starting up. Everybody's watching, looking in the NFL now, hearing a bunch of rumors, seeing all the camp fights and stuff like that. So it's time to get ready and get in full gear. But you know, Tom Brady's one of the biggest stars in the NFL, one of the GOATs of the NFL. So anywhere he goes, there's controversy. And him being on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I've experienced a lot of that the last couple of years, last 3 years of him being on the team. So as you know, as you probably heard, Tom Brady was taking time away from the team in training camp because we had training camp open, preseason started. So all the teams are together getting ready for the season. A lot of the starters don't play, as you know. They kind of just sit back, you know, participate in practice and let the guys that are trying to make the team actually go out there and perform. The younger guys, the rookies, the first round picks go out there and show what they got in a couple of drives. You know, it's not really taking that seriously. So they just kind of kick back. But as it gets going, you know, as it gets closer to the season, you expect all your players to be in camp at least, not the ones that are holding out. Even players that are holding out now, they're doing things called hold-ins. They'll go to camp, but they'll stand on the sidelines just to stay in shape, I guess. But Tom Brady was away from the team, and that's unprecedented for him because he's always in camp, leading camp. He's there early all the time, getting receivers and shit together to go over plays and go over shit to get ready for the season. But he was away from the team for 11 days. Nobody knew why, except for the team, and they're actually keeping it really close to the vest, which was pretty cool of them to do. But nobody in the media, nobody as fans knew where he was or what he was doing. But Coach Todd Bowles actually said he did know what he was doing. It was an excused absence, a planned absence. And he don't know when he's going to come back, but he'll be back by the season, and they're not worried about it. So over the last couple of weeks, they've been speculating all these crazy things Tom Brady could be doing. And it's wild as fuck, man. It went from, oh, maybe his mom is sick with cancer to maybe he's participating in the Masked Singer and filming that. So this is why he's not at camp. The speculation was everywhere, and I don't know what it was either. Like I said, they kept it really close with the vest, and that's really dope of the organization to do. I bet some of the players actually knew too. Some of the players like Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, maybe some of them actually knew what was going on, but they really kept it close to the vest. And that's something I feel like is important for Tom Brady to be able to do, is trust the organization. I think he really does trust the Bucs, even though there's been all this speculation, starting from the Dolphins shit to the Raiders shit now. Just a whole bunch of gossip about Tom Brady before the season has even started. Everybody thought he was going to fall off a cliff anyway. So why everybody on his nuts like this, trying to like, you know, root for his demise, or, you know, I don't know. I feel like they're just giving him fuel to the fire now. Like that Raiders shit that they said on the UFC fight, the Kamaru fight, the Usman fight that I'll talk about later. The whole rumors about him potentially going to the Raiders with Gronk, but fucking John Gruden messed up the deal, so they couldn't get there. All that kind of wild shit from the Dolphins, to where he was going to be part-time owner, part-time player, and Sean Payton was going to be the coach of the Dolphins, and they're going to go there together. Wow, together. I don't know where this all is coming from, and I don't know why they're choosing now to like throw all this shit on Tom Brady. You guys should be focusing on another quarterback, a younger quarterback that hasn't been through all this shit. You know, Tom Brady doesn't need to be at camp one. He's been with us for 3 years with the same offensive coordinator. He knows the playbook front and back, so I think he'll be perfectly fine. Maybe he had vacation. His kids are getting older. Maybe he was hanging out with his kids. Either way, like he's playing in this last preseason game against the Colts. He's actually going to start, get a couple drives in because there's only 3 preseason games now in the NFL, starting like a couple of years ago. So, yeah, Tom Brady's back. We ain't worried about nothing. We have been getting a lot of injuries, and we ready to, stop this preseason stuff and just rest all our starters and all our important players until the regular season, a couple of weeks on September 11th when we open up against the Cowboys, because there's a lot of injuries going on now. Speaking of the Cowboys, Tyron Smith tore his hamstring off the bone. They're starting left tackle, and he's done indefinitely for right now and definitely can't play this season. So these injuries are just piling up for both. I mean, every team in the NFL. We lost our center already in training camp, and we lost our backup. Well, he was competing for the starting left tackle role, but he tore his ACL. So I don't know, man. Something about training camp is just too rough, too violent. The players are going for it too much. Like I think in camp they start with 80 people, so it's cutthroat out there. So players are doing whatever to make it and going so hard that they're taking out starters subsequently, and that's kind of crazy. But hopefully all the teams stay healthy. Aaron Donald stops swinging helmets at people because that shit's crazy. Wow. He's snatching people's helmets off. That boy got an anger problem, but he's good as hell. But I mean, I guess that's what drives him, that crazy ass anger. But Tom Brady's back. The NFL is getting ready to start. Hope everybody's getting ready, got their fantasy draft list going. Best of Bias League Invitational. We draft next week. I know y'all excited about that. I'm going to win anyways and take all y'all money. But we'll talk about more about that next week after we draft, because I'll probably have a podcast about the fantasy draft and all that kind of stuff. Staying in the NFL, we got Deshaun Watson. His suspension went from 6 games to 11 games. Roger Goodell actually appealed the 6 games that Sue L. Robinson actually gave him in the kind of first trial that, the independent judge proceeded over the Watson case first, and then gave him 6 games based on the evidence she had. And then Roger Goodell appealed that and said the stuff that he was doing was predatory. He knew what he was doing, and he caused like a bunch of damage to the shield of the NFL and these women. So he thought the 6 games was too diminutive, too little. Trying to say big words out here. So they gave him 11. I guess 11 is cool, but there's 17 games in the season now. Me personally, I'm happy with it because I guess people in the media were saying they're trying to punish him and give him 11 games too, because I think the 10th game was prime time against the Buccaneers on TV or some shit like that. And they're trying to keep him away and keep him out of primetime games because of what he was doing. So, hey, I'm not mad at it. I'll take Jacoby Brissett against Tom Brady. They're doing us a favor. They're always helping out old Tom, and I'm all for it. But that is that. I'm thinking that it's over now. This whole Deshaun Watson saga and the whole figuring out what's going to happen. Just done and over with. 11 games. After it's over, he can move forward. He's going to get his money. I think he settled with all the girls. I know the girls aren't going to be able to necessarily recover and bounce back just like that. But I'm hoping they're able to seek the help they need to recover. Hopefully the money they get, they're able to do that. And prayers out to them, because I know it's been a hard time with all this shit in the media, and basically a lot of everybody pretty much rooting for the player just to get back on the field, not really thinking about what you were going through either. So I don't know if all of them were true, but I don't know if any of them were true. But even if the allegations were just alleged, nobody wants to go through any of that shit. So yeah, prayers to all sides, you know what I'm saying? Moving on, KD, Kyrie staying in Brooklyn. Best choice for them, in my opinion. Best choice for them, in my opinion, because first of all, nobody was giving up nothing for KD. They're trying to ask for crazy ass shit after the Rudy Gobert trade went through when he went to Minnesota. 5 like picks and like 5 players and shit like that. So Kevin Durant's talent, they're asking for all kind of crazy shit. Nobody was giving it up. He had 4 years left on his contract, $190 million. He signed an extension. So he had no right to really. He can demand a trade. If he doesn't want to stay there, if he's not happy, he can get up out of there. But he has to honor the contract. You know what I'm saying? If you just demand trades like this and people keep doing that, I'm kind of stealing this from Stephen A. I know these players and everybody doesn't trust the owners, and everybody thinks the owners are like using them for their publicity and making money off of them, but you do have to respect contracts because in the moment you did feel like you wanted to play for this team and they wanted to give you all this money and it sounded good in the time. But after a while, before you even start the new contract, decide you want out and want to be traded and try to demand a trade. It's kind of crazy and sets a weird ass precedent for the NBA. So I'm happy they're actually sticking with it. Like I said last week, the roster is going to be crazy. Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, Royce O'Neal, Nick Claxton, Seth Curry, Joe Thomas, Cam Thomas. Uh, who else they got? I don't know who else they got on the bench. Oh yeah, TJ Warren. So they got a squad. You know what I mean? If they stay healthy and everybody can play, everybody's heads on straight. They don't trade Kyrie to the Lakers or nothing like that. They could be a top seed in the East. The Bucks might give them trouble fully healthy, and the Celtics will be back with that Brogdon trade they just made. But you know what I'm saying? I feel like they should stick with it, mend those fences, even though some of the shit that KD was saying about Steve Nash is kind of hard to mend. But I feel like, hey, they can compete. A lot of teams are making roster moves. So I ain't even got to tell you about the Nuggets. I'm gonna tell you anyway. They got Bruce Brown. We got KCP to add to coming back. Jamal Murray, MPJ, Jokic, of course, 2-time MVP. Aaron Gordon, hopefully got his head on straight. Bay Boy out of San Jose. You know what I'm saying? Bones Highland's gonna take that next step. Najee Harris, excuse me. Zeke Najee's gonna take that next step. I feel like we're gonna be a fierce competitor now if we're fully healthy. If Jamal's right, if MPJ's right, we're seeing a lot of shit out there. Um, that they're gonna come back and be a top seed in the Western Conference. But anything can happen. That's what I'm saying. Also, preseason, everybody stay healthy. We saw what happened with Chet Holmgren. He hurt his ankle trying to swat LeBron in a pro-am game out there with Jamal Crawford's little pro-am game in Seattle. His little open where a bunch of stars showed up. He was trying to swat LeBron and show that he had D and he wasn't skinny and weak. He should have just let LeBron, show his stuff and dunk. He tried to block it, came down wrong. And I think he got like a Liz Frank injury or something like that. He injured his foot and he's going to be out for the season. So firstly, it kind of messed it up for those pro-am games because everybody in the league is going to be like, all right, nobody playing these things anymore because you see what can happen. Nobody really plays defense in pro-am anyways. It's kind of like an offensive showcase. So him doing all that shit extra, he shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. Not to blame him because it's a freak injury. Nobody was out there trying to get hurt and he wasn't going out there super aggressive. But that is unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. But just to close out the NBA news here, Patrick Beverley did get traded to the Lakers out of all teams. LeBron and Patrick Beverley and Russell Westbrook are all on the same team. That's going to be crazy. I thought there was no love lost between Patrick Beverley and LeBron James, but I guess he was cool with it. I mean, he wouldn't be coming to the team without okaying it with LeBron and LeBron knowing what Patrick Beverley can bring to the team. You know what I'm saying? He's a dog and he's a good leader. You know what I'm saying? If LeBron James don't want to say something to somebody, Pat Bev will say it to him for him. You know what I'm saying? People don't think Westbrook is actually going to stay on the team. They're kind of saying that bringing Pat Bev over there is kind of like a slight to him and kind of, nonchalantly and kind of like passive aggressively showing him the door. But who knows? They're still trying to make that Buddy Hield and Miles Turner trade happen. Who knows if it's actually going to happen? But with LeBron, nobody knows. He re-signed for that 2 years. So for him to re-sign, I guess they may have made some promises behind the closed doors to keep him happy. And you're going to keep LeBron happy. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to the NBA, man. It's coming back in October, but football's coming back first, so I'm not going to go too far into the NBA. But shit's happening. Trades are happening. But Pat Bev did get traded to the LA Lakers for, I think, Stanley Johnson, THT. I don't know if they gave up a pick because they ain't really got much. So I think it's probably Stanley Johnson and THT. So THT was untouchable a couple of years ago, but to be traded for Pat Bev is kind of crazy. He is hella young and he did have a bright future, but I guess he did need the ball in his hands a lot more. And with LeBron, Westbrook, and a couple other scorers, they couldn't really do that for him at the time. But people are thinking, excuse me, Austin Reeves may take that next step and can fill that shooting guard position. It can be that too. Excuse me, is it Westbrook going to start? Yeah, Westbrook, Austin Reeves. Who they got at? LeBron, AD, and they have Thomas Bryant now. I didn't know they signed him, but they got a legit five since AD doesn't want to play five ever. You can play four if he'd like, but I heard this season he was going to play more five. But anyways, off the NBA, let's talk about this Kamaru Usman fight. He fought Leon Edwards. They both it was like a kind of like a dope ass matchup because both of them were on 10 fight streaks, undefeated, and they all knock people out. They've been knocking them out for sure. Kamaru Usman has been on a title streak for a long time, as well as Leon Edwards. I haven't really heard of Leon Edwards though, but people were saying that he could be a dope matchup for Kamaru Usman, but Kamaru Usman walks through everybody. And this guy, I guess, wasn't really as dope as Kobe Covington, and he beat Kobe Covington in his last fight. So this was the next competitor up, but he was pretty dope. The whole fight, we thought Usman was going to win. Leon kept trying to take Usman down. He couldn't do it. He tried to get some submissions in, couldn't do it, wasn't doing much. And Usman was actually winning, getting some strikes in, some leg kicks, some body punches. And, there's some instances where Usman had Leon against the cage and just was going at him. He would just be in a guard, and Usman was getting through the guard, throwing combos, body, face, body. But unfortunately, in the fifth round, like something super unexpected, like who was this? Rogan, a couple of other announcers, his name's just slipping my mind. Do always be talking out there. We're kind of saying it was over for Leon Edwards. He pretty much was just standing out there looking dead like a zombie. People were saying like he was done. They're saying that he's writing his obituary and stuff like shit like that. But then all of a sudden he fakes this 1-2 combo and just throws this head kick, connects with Usman's head, and just Usman, you see him just go out and knocks him out in the last minute of the fifth championship round. Nobody expected it. It's crazy. If you saw the fight, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. It was like, fainted and just, leg up, kicked him right in the fucking head. And he just went out. The champ went out. Nobody has seen this happen to the champ. He just went out. You know what I mean? And he didn't even believe it. We didn't even believe it. Nobody believed it. Like, he hasn't lost in how many fights? He's been undisputed champ for so long. That we didn't even think this was possible. I didn't think this was possible. I thought he was just gonna retire on top. I thought Usman, he had all the sponsorships. He probably had all the betting odds. I was thinking, what if somebody bet on Leon? Come on, I don't know why I want to say Leon Washington so bad, but Leon Edwards. What if somebody bet on Leon Edwards and he actually won this fight? That payout would be kind of crazy. And for him to get that one kick and knock the champ out and actually win the fight, I felt bad for the champ, but I felt good for Leon as well because he was getting chewed out by his dad, which was his trainer. He was like, man, you not doing what you need to do. He's talking real shit, like yelling at him, probably getting him where he needs to be. He's probably used to it, but from the outside looking in, because he was getting beat for 4 full rounds and mostly the fifth round too. So he was like getting down on. He was like, if you don't do what you need to do, you're going to lose this fight and it's going to be embarrassing for you. And then after a while, it's like, okay, yeah, this man is done. His spirits are low. He's not gonna be able to do this. He can't complete the mission. But like I said, bow, kicked him in the head, and it was done for the champ. I felt so bad at the moment. I didn't even listen to Leon's interview after. I couldn't even believe it. The champ is fallen. But I know his comeback's gonna be even better. The story of his comeback's gonna be way, way, way better because he should have won that fight. He just let his guard down for 1 second. I don't know if he got overconfident, knowing that it was in the last minute, knowing that he had the fight in the bag. If he was being too aggressive when he should have just played a defensive game so that nothing like this could have happened. But he's the champ. He knows that what he did was stupid. He knows he's gonna come back the next time and just be twice as strong and probably knock him out. I say knock him out because I'm sure he has like a rematch clause. He gets a rematch probably sooner than later. And he's going to come back and do his thing because he should have won that fight. shout out Usman, shout out Leon Edwards, for real. Shout out Leon Edwards because he said at the end of the fight, he was like, I didn't fight my best fight. I didn't show what I can do. So next time I fight, I'm gonna come out here ready, and I bet he is gonna come out more aggressive and do what he can do as well. Because in the beginning of the fight, he almost actually submitted Usman in the first round. He had him on his back and was trying to get the rear naked choke on him, and he almost locked it in. But you know what I'm saying? The champ was able to get out, and for the next 4 rounds, he just kind of wailed on him and got him in corners, and just Leon tried to take him down over and over and over, and it didn't happen. And then as the fight was ending, he was like, he gave that desperation kick, and it connected, and it was done, lights out. So I can't wait till the next fight. UFC is just getting doper and doper. These championship cards are getting doper and doper, and I'm just happy. And you know, a lot of people think the sport's super brutal and can't really watch it, but shit, if you like boxing, if you like combat sports, you can't not like fucking UFC. It's just dope. That was dope. Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods starting up a golf league. The Live Golf League in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is taking a lot of the PGA golfers, as you know. We talked about it in the last couple of episodes as well. A lot of the top-notch golfers, and more are seeming to go over there. So the PGA is trying whatever they can to keep publicity on them and keep themselves alive in these times of desperation, losing all these golfers to the Live. So they're coming out with a league in partnerships with the PGA called Hole in One, I think is what it's called. It's going to be 6 teams of 3 golfers, 15 weeks, 15 Monday night matches, so 15 weeks, and it's tech infused. So I think it's a weird ass ploy. If you've seen the slides, if you've seen the pictures of it, it looks kind of like indoor golf shit that would be in Vegas. That's probably why they're having it and shit like that. And it kind of reminds me of that hole in one thing that Steph Curry does. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's really that creative, and I don't think it's really gonna last that long. Because what are you gonna do? Just kind of like put this out to the public and try to like employ people and just put it on CBS or TBS or whatever they do, like one of those game shows. Like, I don't think it's gonna be taken that seriously. I think they need to give the golfers what they need to keep them on their side and stop with the little gimmicks. Tiger Woods has put his foot down. He's not gonna go to Live. He doesn't want to. They offered him a whole bunch of money to go over there, but I'm sure the PGA offered him more to stay over there. And along with Nike, probably didn't want them to cross overseas. He want Tiger to cross overseas either. So they probably gave him the super ultra bag to stay over there. But I don't know how this golf thing is going to turn out. I think it sounds kind of cheesy. And if you see the pictures on Twitter, like I saw them on Twitter, they're still in the works. Maybe they filmed it already and they're actually just going to put it out like like a pre-filmed thing. I don't know. But how do you guys feel about that, man? How do you feel about Rory McIlroy? Is it Rory McIlroy? I don't know my golfers. And Tiger Woods coming out and making a golf league kind of like mini golf supreme, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. I'm not too sure how it's gonna go, man. So I'm gonna zoom past that. Joe Biden, our president, this past Wednesday has signed a bill to clear up to $10,000. I don't know if you guys know this, but this is probably the most more important news of the week. I should have started with this. He's canceling $10,000 of student loan debt if you are in the U.S., of course, and make it under $125,000 a year at your job. So a lot of America qualifies for this, especially people that just graduated and took out some crazy loans to graduate. Pell Grant hit you for some money. You ran out of financial aid like I did myself and had to take out some loans to stay afloat in college and actually graduate and cross that line. If you've been on plans to pay back your student loans for like 1,200 years and you just now getting close to that threshold to being able to pay it off, you got $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, maybe even $10,000 left on your payment plan. Well, he's signing a bill now as the midterms approach, of course, trying to get you guys' votes if he's actually going to run, because, you know, the rumors were said last week. I heard he's actually not going to run, but he's trying to finally fulfill some of his campaign promises and help us with these student loans. He did it before, a little bit earlier, on some other loans for colleges, like these small trade school colleges, but they didn't really do it like they're doing it now. for a lot of the bigger colleges and the more colleges that kind of take advantage of the people. You know what I'm saying? We want to go to school, we need this education, and we need to get these degrees, but we get out here in the regular world after graduating, y'all don't want to give us jobs. But we sitting here with these big old bills and these debts for taking out these loans to go to the schools, and now we kind of got tricked. So now I feel like they're doing right by us, and us people that had stick to itiveness and stayed with it in school and finished out, and subsequently had these big ass bills and we're in debt for a while. This $10,000 can actually help. So shouts out to him for actually doing something that helps us out and not setting us back like this Roe versus Wade thing him and his people is doing. I know it's not him in particular, but the government in general. I mean, he's supposed to be the man, the head man in the government. He shouldn't let that shit go down. And I'm still kind of bitter about it. Everybody's bitter about it. And we ain't gonna let it go by the wayside just because you're signing away a couple of student loan debts. You know what I'm saying? So there's still a lot more to go, a lot more to do, you know, a lot more things to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? So, Joe, if you guys are really on our side and you really want these votes, you really gotta help us and take the country to a better place. Because right now we in the shits, man. I don't really like to get too political. You know what I'm saying? And I am kind of jumbling today, jumbling all my words up. It's been a long week, y'all. It's been a very, 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 very long week. But if you had 10,000 in student loan debts, get them out of there. We out of there, man. Shouts out to y'all. Shouts out to me. Next, powering through these, you know how I do it, man. I'm gonna get y'all partying on a Friday. I don't want y'all to have to sit here and have to listen every second of me. But the podcast, our topics don't stop and the interests don't stop. But it was kind of a slow week this week, but we do got this crazy ass topic right here. AI rapper FN Mecca. Yeah, let that sink in. We have AI rappers now. Started off with NFTs, metaverse, and all that crazy ass shit. Now it actually graduated into a AI rapper who actually got signed by a record label. They got signed by Capitol Records. I don't know how much the money is worth. I don't even know if this is real. But he has 10 million followers on TikTok. So I guess Capitol Records thought that was enough to sign this AI rapper. This AI rapper, I guess, was created by, I don't know exactly the person who's behind it, but I know it was a white man. I don't know if the rapper's voice is of an actual black person, but the rapper does say nigga a lot, and it is kind of crazy. It resembles a weird version of 6ix9ine. This could be 6ix9ine in disguise. They're calling it. That's probably what he did with all his money. That's why he's broke now. He created a AI rapper to nobody knows it's actually him, and he can just rap from behind closed doors and from his home because he can't come outside or some weird shit like that. I don't know what it is. I don't know how this actually came to be. I just hope these kids don't start eating up all this AI rapper stuff, because there's actually rappers out there, and they're not even rappers, just musicians in the regular world that are actually super dope. And for them to have to compete with AI and computer generated rappers that music labels supposedly give money to. How do you give money to an AI rapper? You give it to, and supposedly the AI comes up with songs based on songs that are actually out there in the atmosphere. So it'll take everything that's out there in the popular cultures, and it'll just automatically generate a song to put out there. I don't necessarily know how true that is, but it's a weird ploy to me. I think people work way too hard to lose jobs to AI rappers. Um, I don't even know. People are already kind of super addicted to screens. These AI rappers won't be able to perform a concert or nothing like that. So I just feel like there's going to take over kids' minds. I think this is going to be something that hypnotizes like little kids and brainwashes them into doing crazy shit. Because I know a bunch of adults and people in my generation aren't gonna go for it. I know Gen Zers, I feel like aren't gonna go for it either. So these younger people, well, I guess the young Gen Zers that are all over YouTube and enjoying TikTok, where this guy is crazy. I mean, this AI generated thing actually is. I don't even know what it identifies as, so I ain't gonna put that label on it. But it's weird, man. I wish I had somebody on here to talk about it with, because I have a whole bunch of musician friends that work hard out there to become what they're trying to become. They put out a bunch of music, they go out there and grind in the streets, you know what I'm saying, partner with a whole bunch of people doing shows, you know what I'm saying, grinding, in the street, you know what I'm saying, actually doing shit. And now they're signing AI rappers that never experienced the grind, never had to do anything to come up like all these people that are actually people have to do. I'm sure they won't get fucked over in the music industry like people actually get fucked over, real people get fucked over. So I don't even know. How do we even know there's not these music labels coming up with this in the first place and just saying they're signing people? It's just weird. I feel like it's just a way to cut out the musicians, to cut out the engineers, to cut out everybody associated that they're paying to pay less money and just to make more money off the culture, which is crazy. Which is fucking crazy to me. But at this point, I'm gonna take a little break. I am getting sweaty. Need to get some water. You know, I have to get the water at this break. Get hydrated. Stay hydrated, everybody. Stay safe, everybody. I'll be right back. It's the Best of Bias podcast, and I'm gonna make it do what it do. Yeah. But first and foremost, I want to let y'all see this merch here we got going for the Best of Bias podcast. I told you guys that I had something special on the way for y'all. Hats, bucket hats, all that kind of stuff. And as you can see, what I got on my head right now is the Best of Bias trucker. You see the logo on top. Nice little thing. I got trucker hats, beanies, bucket hats, dad hats, all with the logo on them. Let me show you. You know what? Let me show it. It's better to show.
I break it down now, I break it down now. That pussy wet, it make you drown now. If you go downtown, these goofy niggas, they some clowns now. Yeah, they some clowns now. But I'm a king, I wear a crown, and that should weigh 100 pounds. I break it down now, I break it down now. That pussy wet, it make you drown now. If you go downtown, these goofy niggas, they some clowns now. Yeah, they some clowns now. But I'm a king, I wear a crown, and that should weigh 100 pounds. Fuck it, my goal is to elevate, never hesitate. I don't share money, I educate, then sit back and wait for plans to formulate. Claim my stake, I mistake my claim.
And we back. It's the Best of Bias podcast. It's your boy Lydell Dinero, and we got more topics for you. Right now, we're gonna jump into these TV show reviews, though. Got a couple TV show reviews. We're gonna get you up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Is that cool with y'all? Cool. Firstly, we got She-Hulk. Episodes 1 and 2. We're on the second episode by now. Second episode. I thought it was cool, man. I'm a big Hulk fan. I'm really into the whole origin and the story of the Hulk, and so for them to be expanding on it, is really cool to me. I'm hoping we get to see like his son get into it. I'm hoping we get to see World War Hulk get introduced into this. I know we're gonna see Daredevil in here. There's already been a whole bunch of hints to other shows, and it's really cool, man. It has a whole comedy aspect to it. I thought it was really good. The origin was kind of weird to me. In the comic books, I guess she is a really different storyline. I think she gets shot. She's a lawyer, so I think she gets shot, and she needs a blood transfusion or something like that. And she gets a blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce Banner, and that's how she gets the powers to be the She-Hulk. But in the show, spoiler alert for people who haven't seen it now, episodes 2 is already out now, so you should have seen it by now. But how she gets her powers in this one, she gets in a car accident. We see a spaceship swoop down when her and Bruce are driving down the street, making them veer off the road. She cuts her arm, and since Bruce is bleeding, their blood mixes together, and she gets the She-Hulk powers. And it's really cool. I mean, if you've seen the previews and stuff, we get to see kind of a lot of the first episode. Her getting the powers, her training with Bruce, and her actually getting to see how it is to be a Hulk, and Bruce kind of telling her, man, like she has to be a superhero now. She can't go back to regular society because she has to train to be the Hulk and kind of get the hang of it, because if she fucks up, society is not going to look at her as a superhero. They're going to look at her as a monster forever. And Hulk knows that firsthand, because when he first became the Hulk, everybody was afraid of him and thought he was a monster, and we're kind of like passive and kind of like scared of him. So he was kind of telling his cousin, like, you gotta, learn from me and let me tell you how to do your thing and how to be the Hulk. He had a little hideout in Mexico where him and Tony Stark were hiding post blip, and kind of trying to figure things out and try to help and get people to come back. You guys saw how in the movie Endgame, how Tony was kind of like down and out. He was stuck in space for a while, but when he came back down, I guess him and Bruce were working on a little something before he actually linked back up with Steve Rogers, and they did their thing to save the world and bring everybody back. But in this this here season. We're talking about fuck, I forgot her last name. Jen. Jen's her first name. I know that for sure. But we get to see a bunch about She-Hulk. She breaks the fourth wall a lot. She talks to the camera, kind of like Deadpool. So that's always funny. We get to see her life as a lawyer because she's actually able to transform back between herself and actually be herself as a Hulk. She's like a big ass green version of herself. So she's actually able to control herself, have the speech of herself. She's kind of like the smart Hulk already, being that she just turned into the Hulk. So she's already kind of mastered that. And she doesn't really get as big or as strong as the Hulk because the Hulk is the Hulk, but she's able to do more things that he was able to do at a younger stage of his Hulkness or her Hulkness. You know what I'm saying? But overall, it's a good show. The first episode, I didn't know at first. I thought it was gonna be kind of cheesy, but I think I like where it's going after seeing how the second episode ended. It's just kind of showing how she's kind of coping with the public knowing who she is, how her being a Hulk is kind of known to the public and they like her more as the Hulk than actually being a lawyer and being Jen herself, which is kind of crazy. We get to see her dealing with that because she really just wants to be a lawyer. She doesn't want to be a superhero, even though she has these Hulk powers. You know what I'm saying? She feels like she should be able to be a lawyer and keep her regular life because that's kind of one of the themes in the first episode. She doesn't want to stay secluded like the Hulk has to do because his temper kind of messes things up. She feels like she wants to be in society and live her life because she can control herself. But she actually realizes that society actually wants her to be the Hulk more than they want her to be herself in the first place. And though she is a lawyer, they want her to be a superhero lawyer and not just a lawyer now that everybody knows she's like the She-Hulk. You know what I mean? She doesn't really want to be a superhero again because she knows that they don't have, again, in the show is a joke that they don't have health plans, they don't get paid. Lawyers get paid, and she went to school for a long time, so she wanted to be a lawyer. But it's cool, man. I didn't really think it was gonna be that good. Everybody thought it was gonna be kind of like an Ally McBeal type comedy series, but it's doing a good job of tying in a whole bunch of MCU stuff. We see the Hulk get kidnapped at the end, or see him in the jet that actually, or the spaceship that actually makes them get into the accident. You see the Hulk flying off in that, saying that he has to go do something. People think they're going to introduce World War Hulk into that series because he was, the collectors, or what was the collectors? Not the collectors. It was I forgot his name. Whoever Jeff Goldblum was playing in Thor Ragnarok. He was his champion, and they did escape and run away. So I guess he may have owed him a debt, and that's going to turn him into World War Hulk. I haven't read the comics, so I'm just kind of like guessing, spitballing here, but I think that might happen. And they also talked about what else did they talk about? The Thunderbolts, because they had Abomination in there. She actually has to represent Abomination, and we saw Abomination in Hulk, in the Hulk 2. He tried to kill the Hulk. He got kicked into a tree and took the gamma radiation and tried to become one of the Hulk, tried to become a super soldier, but turned into the Abomination. We did see the Abomination fighting in a cage match in Shang-Chi. So we wondered how this was actually going to tie in if he was in jail. And then we see that the Hulk and the Abomination actually mended fences. They're not mortal enemies anymore, even though Abomination tried to kill the Hulk. So that's dope. It's good to see. And then at the end, when she actually does accept the job, we see that he actually did escape jail. Abomination broke out. And as he was breaking out, they found out because he was in an underground fighting match, and it was in Shang-Chi. So that was really cool how they tied that in. That was pretty dope. And so people were saying that they kind of like mentioned Wolverine in there. I have to rewatch it. I didn't really see that, but I'm gonna have to rewatch it and see that as well. But it's cool so far. It's going to be 9 episodes. I think I mentioned that as well. Not the old 6 episodes like the last couple shows we're doing. 9 episodes is actually going to give us a storyline. If they're going to try to build towards something, we're actually going to see what they get to, build towards. So I'm excited for that. That's going to be dope. And I'm excited what to see next. They had a bunch of end credit scenes. The first couple episodes both had end credit scenes, but they seem more so like bloopers than actual end credit scenes. You know what I mean? So they didn't really show or foreshadow much. It just kind of showed extra shit from the actual episodes. But I'm sure as we get closer to the end, they'll give us one little spoiler thing to kind of tie it into the MCU and show us what's going on. Because I know once that Daredevil cameo comes in there, and that Kingpin cameo comes in there, it's gonna really lead us to something cool. And I'm really excited to see that. You know what I mean? Next, we got the House of the Dragon. Whew. Man, this was the prequel to the Game of Thrones, man. We all watched the Game of Thrones over the years and we saw the finale. That was a couple of years ago. And we were all left kind of disappointed because we kind of all got led up to this super big point with the what's the Ice King, the Night King, the whatever, the Dead Walkers, all these whatever they were called. We got led up to that, and then we saw Arya just kill the Night King really easily, and the whole shit that was set up was kind of over. And then the whole committee at the end that kind of y'all saw it. You don't need me to, because I don't really remember exactly what happened 100%, but y'all saw what happened. Everybody was disappointed about how it ended. It was kind of rushed, and it was not what everybody expected. We saw a whole bunch of people die and a whole bunch of lead up to be disappointed at the end, and I think that was kind of fucked up. But with this House of the Dragons, we get to see the early stages. I think it was thousands of years ago when the Targaryens and the dragon folk kind of ruled over everything, and before all the families kind of split up and King's Landing kind of all went to shit. But it's really cool. We get to see dragons flying around, and it kind of brings us back to the medieval kind of like family struggle that we all enjoy, and we all enjoy from Game of Thrones. Yeah, it's great. I haven't really memorized the names or anything like that yet, so I just kind of think it's dope. It's bringing back the nostalgia of Game of Thrones, and I think it's going to right the wrongs of a whole bunch of shit that went wrong in the Game of Thrones. Not much actually went wrong in Game of Thrones, but the ending kind of like, yeah, it kind of like left a bad taste in our mouth and kind of reminded us of some other bad show endings. And I don't know if we can put it up there with Lost and shit like that. But it was kind of bad. I wasn't really a big fan of how it ended, but this reboot is pretty tight, man. It has internal family struggles, like heirs to the throne, and one of the heirs didn't get to be the heir like they thought they would, and shit's gonna go down in revenge for it, and it's a lot of shit going down. It's like it's Game of Thrones all over again, and they can do whatever they want because these characters weren't really in the story of Game of Thrones, so they can build upon this, and it's thousands and thousands of years before what we knew in the Game of Thrones, so they can do whatever they want to do. So that's dope. Again, I wish I had AKA or somebody on here that actually was a Game of Thrones fanatic, and go over with me. I know my grandma watches Game of Thrones, so I know she would love to go over with me, and I would love to hear her opinion on how she liked the first episode, because I know I liked it. HBO Max keeps coming with the heat, and keeps supplying us with that summer blockbuster every season. Really, they have something, TV shows and movies. So if you ain't seen it yet, go watch it. I'm actually not gonna spoil too much of it because I actually have to watch it again myself. I only watched it one time through, but it is a good show. I recommend it, especially if you watch the Game of Thrones. I'm sorry I didn't really give it too much in depth there, but I do severely enjoy it, so you should go check it out. That's pretty much it. Besides the music that actually came out today, I'm recording this on Thursday, so I didn't really get to hear it yet. I'll hear it after I'm done recording here. So the JIT album, his album's coming out this weekend. We got DJ Khaled's album that's actually coming out as well. And yeah, I think we have a bunch of new music that's coming out. This Friday is gonna be a big one for music. And go check out my boy Damo Lee's new record. Him, my boy Lamar, and Adrian. I wish I knew you guys' tags right now so I could promote it better. But hopefully I can get AKA to put it somewhere in here so I can promote that for y'all. But this is kind of to the end of the episode, where I like to let you guys know where you can find me at. Not much this week. It was kind of a slow week, but I'm happy you guys were here to experience another episode with me. And I'm talking kind of crazy and I'm all mush mouth again today. It's one of those days, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get right next time for y'all. I think I'm gonna have somebody on this weekend. I always say I'm gonna have an episode here fast and like a double episode in the week, but I never do it. But I'm gonna try to get it out there for y'all this week. I know Deshaun still wants to talk about that tournament. I know Jen has been wanting to come on here and talk some topics with y'all. She has some new stuff she wanted to bring to the table. V-Rons, Ashwash, Johnny Mac, AKA everybody's gonna be back, man. It's been kind of slow on the guests, but we're gonna get back to it. Merch, you guys see all the merch back there. You see it all. Merch available, t-shirts. We got medium, large. I think that's all I got right now. Medium, large. No more extra large, but I'm gonna re-up on the shirts soon. Hoodies coming soon for the fall. Hats back there, dad hats. I got plenty more colors. I actually just got them in. Waiting on the patches. You see the patch with the glasses back there. About to get a bunch of those in. If you need some shit, hit me up. You know where to find me. Hit me in the DMs. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys again for being here. This is episode 129. Almost episode 130, almost episode 150. We got to do something epic for 150. We did something epic for 100. We did like a 4-part episode. But this time we're going to get something popping for 150. We're getting closer there. We got some time to think about it though, because we ain't there yet. It's only episode 129. But whew, man, thank y'all for being here. It's the Best of Bias podcast. What else? PC, go download all their music. Pretty Ugly. He out there with the reaction videos now. Go check him out. AKA, thank you again for all the videos, man. You know, I'll be getting on here and give you credit. I don't think I give you guys enough credit for everybody that helps out with the podcast and those of you listeners who like, subscribe, and actually give me these views, man. I don't think y'all get enough credit either. Clap for yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Clap for yourselves. Football season about to start. I'll be on here talking a lot more fantasy football after I draft my players, because I'm not trying to give away my strategy out here to the people that actually listen to the podcast and watch and support me. Because everybody that don't, they ain't gonna hear it anyway. But I just don't want to give away nothing that I might regret. The draft is on Saturday, which is tomorrow if you listen to this on Friday. So everybody that's coming to the draft party, you know what to do. $50 buy-in. We getting crazy, you know what I'm saying? I got the number 8 pick. We revealed the draft picks, the draft order. I'm number 8, and I'm gonna do something crazy. Y'all ain't even ready. I'm gonna draft the perfect team and just walk out with all y'all money. So if y'all listening right now, y'all better be ready, man. We got the trophy, last place trophy. Let me show y'all what we got here. You know what I'm saying? Johnny Mac, you getting this at the party this weekend. I'm sorry, but this is the last place trophy from last year. Everybody that gets in the last place is gonna get that trophy and gotta bring it back to the next party. Sorry, audio listeners, I just held up the last place trophy, and it was it was a toilet. You don't want the toilet, you know what I'm saying? You don't want that at all. But that's it, my guys, my ladies, my family. Thank you guys for being here. It's the Best of Bias podcast again. Draft well if you drafting this weekend. Love your families. It's almost Labor Day. We'll have a Labor Day episode for y'all too. You know, the content will keep on coming. Thank you for subscribing, subscribe, share, tell everybody about it, man. It's the Best of Bias podcast. Where that theme song at? Thank y'all.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to unite us. It's the best of bias. The best of bias.